Countdown to emergency rule in Rivers State, citizens urged to shun bitterness, rivalry, and self-interest. Also on the program, defections, ideologies, and the people's perspectives. We also have on our lineup the push and pull over the soul of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. The ADC spokesman is in the studio. We'll be meeting him shortly. Welcome to the program. This is Political Update. I'm Fisaya Ogunfoyi. Its Administrator Vice Admiral Ibok Etebas has appealed to citizens to rise above bitterness, rivalry, and self-interest and work together for peace and development. At an interdenominational Thanksgiving service marking the commencement of activities for the transition to democratic governance, Ibas recalled the challenges faced before President Bola Tinubu's intervention.
All must rise above bitterness, rivalry, and self-interest to pursue the greater good of our state. The progress and prosperity of Rivers State must be placed above personal and/or partisan interests.
Let's learn to forgive. Let's learn to forget the past so that we can go forward. Amen.
From the Senate, we hear that the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly has clarified that the clerk does not possess the authority to review, reverse, or interpret Senate decisions. A statement from the Director of Information of the National Assembly in response to reports by some section of the media concerning the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and an attempt to resume legislative duties following a communication from a legal representative with the threats of legal and disciplinary action, explains that the determination of whether she can resume legislative duties without any further or fresh resolution of the Senate lies solely with the Senate and not with the Office of the Clerk to the National Assembly. The statement adds that the Office of the Clerk remains guided by principles of constitutionalism, institutional respect, and the rule of law, and that the Office of the Clerk serves strictly as an administrative arm in accordance with Senate standing rules. The statement urged the public to be patient and allow the appropriate institutions, including the Senate and the courts, to discharge their constitutional responsibilities. On Wednesday, the 10th of September 2025, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, officially recognized the David Mark-led leadership of the African Democratic Congress. This development followed a period of internal restructuring within the party, which culminated in the emergence of new national officers aimed at repositioning the ADC ahead of future electoral contests. But this week, a hearing of a suit seeking to stop the David Mark-led leadership of the African Democratic Congress was on Monday stalled at the Federal High Court in Abuja due to the failure to properly serve the court papers on the defendants as required by law. The presiding judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, ordered the plaintiff to properly serve the defendants the court documents and adjourned the case until September 30 for hearing. And now joining us in the studio is the spokesman of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi. Thank you for joining us on Political Update. It's been quite, an eventful week this past week, while a lot of people were congratulating you, or at least the ADC, on that recognition by the Electoral Management Body. This morning, that was Monday, you were slapped with this issue of suit and all that, seeking to still stall the process. First of all, tell us the state of play in the party and why it seems as if, what should be perhaps a smooth relationship and transition has become something that has a few hurdles, just like Tobi Amuson witnessed at the track championship over the weekend.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. For us in the African Democratic Congress, we are not totally surprised by these developments. There was a reason that led to the coalition. The deliberate destabilization of all opposition political parties that created a condition which made it difficult for opposition political parties to survive. had created the situation where political leaders in the opposition had to come together to form the coalition. So we are not under any illusion that the forces that destabilize all these other political parties will allow for a smooth ride. So what you are saying, what ADC has done was completely, totally within the constitutional provisions of the party, and that was why INEC supported or endorsed or acknowledged the leadership change in the party. So, and you can see that it's immediately after that INEC action, which we commended because, like we said, INEC stood on the side of history, on the right side of history by doing what they did. Now you can see it's immediately after that all this, heckling, if I may say, started, and people talking about crisis within the ADC. There is absolutely no crisis within the ADC. Yes, what is happening, with due respect to the courts, is a distraction, but something that we have prepared for and that we are ready to deal with. We are absolutely confident that there is no hiccups in the process that led to the emergence.
Before I go to some of the other features of this push and shove, the coalition as it is there any effort to bring everybody to the table as against some seeing it as an elbow to push everybody aside?
You see, you need to have an understanding of the process that led to the emergence of the new leadership. It's not anybody elbowing anybody. It was a long process that took several months for us to arrive at the point that we arrived at the last NEC meeting of the party. We had different options. One of the options was to register a new political party. I mean, when I say we, I mean the coalition of opposition leaders. The second option was to look at existing political parties that's most responsive to the aspiration of the coalition. And we considered several political parties. One of them happened to be the African Democratic Congress that we found most responsive and most suitable for the vision of the coalition leaders. And everything that needed to be done was done. One of the conditionalities in the consideration of the political parties was that the leadership of the parties would be willing to resign to make room for new leadership. So all the constitutional amendments that needed to happen were done, and the leadership resigned from the chairman to the secretary and the others. And their resignation and the emergence of the new leadership was ratified at the last NEC meeting in the presence of INEC officials. So everything that we did happened. Now, to come to the question of whether we'll be willing to reconcile, of course, I mean, we are playing politics, and we'll be willing to talk to anybody that is willing to. But if we are talking to people whose agenda is very clear, which is the destabilization of the party, and to continue to give the impression that there is crisis in the party, then you know that such individuals, you cannot talk to them because they have their own mission that is being driven by ulterior motives. So, but up till now, if they are willing to talk, we'll be willing to talk to them.
Okay, for somebody from the outside looking in, like myself,
yeah.
We have a former presidential candidate of the party in the last, presidential elections, feeling that Dumebi Kajikwu, feeling that he's been perhaps just, thrown away and being a stakeholder in the party before now. And then we have more or less, an executive, an exco, completely made up of members who are not even 5 months old in the party. I'm just looking at the, I understand. No,
we have repeated this. Sorry, I had to come in here. We've repeatedly explained this. Every single thing that needed to be done within the ambits of the constitution of ADC was done. When you say people who are not, when the Dumebi Kajikwu that you mentioned, when he wanted to contest for the president on the platform of ADC, how old was he in the party? The constitution was amended to allow him because it was required that you spend 2 years before you can even contest
a waiver.
A waiver. So he was granted a waiver to contest. That is number one. Number two, as we speak, Dumebi is not a member of the African Democratic Congress. He has been expelled from the party and his expulsion was ratified in the last neck. That is number two. Number three, and you can see he's not,
would you
and you can see
allow
he's
me
not a
to
party.
just put in a word? Is that not the elbow I'm saying? Elbowing
He
people
was
aside
expelled by his own people. We didn't expel him. He was expelled by his own political party before we even came into the party. So we didn't expel him. He was expelled by his own political party before we came in. That's number two. Number three, you said he's a stakeholder in the party and he does not have. The question I should ask is, what position does he hold? Did he hold in the party? Is there any position in the party that is called the position of a presidential candidate?
Yes.
No, there's no position in the party
no
called.
position like that.
So
but what that will presuppose is that he spent some time in the party ahead of those who have come in now. Is that fair enough?
But if he was expelled from the party, how is that our problem? We came in after he had been expelled from the party, and I'm surprised you are dwelling on this.
No, I'm not dwelling on it. I'm only creating I'm just creating a perspective as well.
I'm saying that he had been expelled from the party. So if someone is expelled from the party, so on what basis will he have the legitimacy to make claims on the party?
He himself challenged the legitimacy of the ESCO that,
And then that's a different thing entirely. That's a different thing entirely. So if you will be asking me, the question I'm asking, which I would like to get answer from, since you insist on this, is what position in the party? Is no longer a stakeholder in the party. If he was a presidential candidate of a party, you were only a presidential candidate of a party in a particular election cycle. And the moment the election is over, then that relationship ends.
Okay. So let's move on to other issues. We have a court case now, and a date has been set and all that. So what you're saying between now and then is that will be a process that you have perhaps to reconcile all these people, perhaps. So many people have, apart from that court case, there are some dissenting voices. I'm not sure if you've heard some of them. For instance, Honorable Leke Abejide, member, in National Assembly from Kogi State, who, has also said, one or two things about, the new leadership of the party. I'm not sure if, you are aware of this, or if there are efforts to also perhaps at least get some buy-ins of some of those who you met in the party.
We would be happy to talk to everybody. We'll be happy to engage everybody. But the honorable member that you mentioned has consistently gone around saying that even if he remained a member of ADC, he will campaign for President Bola Tinubu in the next election. So how is that consistent with the aspiration of the ADC? So you see, what they want to achieve is exactly what you are helping them to achieve, to detain us discussing all these issues rather than focusing on what really matters. Because as long as I know media enjoy crisis to say there's crisis
not
here,
the NTA. Definitely not the NTA.
So but the point I'm making is, why are we dwelling on all this when there are substantive issues that we could deal with?
Let's deal with
the African Democratic Congress today stands as the only opposition party in Nigeria. That is signal. So why are we not discussing what that represents? Why are we discussing these individuals who are just agents of destabilizing the party?
All right, let's go your way. But before then, some other parties will say that assertion it might be fanciful. The PDP describes itself as the credible opposition in Nigeria. But that is, by the way. But let's go to the agenda. Talk about some of the things on the table for your party, as you have rightly alluded to. So we give you the platform now, which we have invited you for, to also elucidate on some of the, intendment of this coalition.
Well, thank you very much for that question. The African Democratic Congress came about, the coalition that went into the ADC, came about, like I said earlier, as a result of the atmosphere, the stifling political atmosphere that was created that made it impossible for all opposition parties to move forward. And one of them, of course, like you mentioned, was the People's Democratic Party. Then you had the Labour Party and all of the other opposition political parties that became mired in one crisis or the other, because of the condition that was created. So what has happened is that since July 2nd, that the coalition members decided to go into African Democratic Congress. What ADC has successfully done is to create a condition where Nigeria has a viable and virile opposition political party, with due respect to other political parties that you mentioned. But today, if anybody asks you to mention the main opposition political party, you will mention the African Democratic Congress. So that itself is a major contribution to our democracy. The people must have a voice. A situation of one-party state is not good for democracy, is not good for Nigeria. Nigeria is too big to be reduced to a one-party state. So for us, that is major, and we are delighted with the success we have recorded in the last 2-3 months. We know the battle lies ahead. We know that the biggest challenge we have today is to convince Nigerians that ADC is the alternative, and that we are going to move the country in a different direction. And that's what you will see us doing in the coming months.
All right, talking about the ADC itself, we've talked about coalition, but the party itself, predates this coalition.
Yes, absolutely.
And as, party machinery across the country, are they on board altogether?
What do you mean they are on board altogether?
I'm talking about, there's not been any national convention or congress yet, but I'm saying in terms of a buy-in, is there something like a state tour, some kind of, interaction?
Like you rightly mentioned, the ADC had existed since 2005, right? But it has not been a main player in the mainstream as it has happened now with the coalition going into the ADC. Now it has become a mainstream political party, a real national political party. Across the country, there were state structures of the party, no matter how marginal. So what is happening now is that the coalition joining the ADC has given a new life to the party. And you could see in the last couple of months, Nigerians joining in drove the African Democratic Congress. We are the new bride in the country, and as anyone will testify. So everybody is, across the country, Nigerians are joining the ADC. They are delighted that they have alternative, contrary to what was happening before we came. So we have been receiving members from the APC, the ruling party. We've been receiving members from the PDP and from other parties as well. So for us, what we are building is a movement that brings all Nigerians together who are not happy with the direction that the country is going. So as we speak today, you have people who are either in the ruling party or in the coalition ADC. So, and we are happy. We can tell you that as we move towards 2027, you even see more people coming in from even the ruling party itself. So we have structures across the country. We'll embark on membership registration and revalidation, and we'll continue to grow as we continue.
Let's be, this is an innocent question, and, there's no agenda behind this. I just, as a student of, politics, you're receiving members from other parties, which is more or less what we might call mass defections, from other parties, ruling parties, the ruling party and other parties across the country. Yeah. But how confident are you that they are going to stay? After all, they were in other parties, moving to your party. It could also be a bus stop where another bus can still come and pick them to another junction.
No, I think, yeah, I'm glad you said it's an innocent question, but it's also a cynical one, if I may say. There was a reason people left those parties. The condition that we create in the ADC is a condition where everyone will be happy to be in a party where they have a voice, where internal democracy is truly practiced, where no one individual is in control of the party. That's the kind of party we are trying to build. So people came here because they are looking for freedom. People came into ADC because they want to have a voice. People have come into the ADC because they want to be part of history. They want to be part of the generation that moved Nigerian politics in a direction where politics is truly used to serve the people of the country.
All right, time is not our friend, but maybe perhaps a quick one. What I would expect in terms of party activities in the next few months as you continue to galvanize, members and Nigerians to capture this new imagination.
Well, I mean, we will, like I said, I mean, for us, our understanding is that today Nigerians are dissatisfied with the ruling party. They're not happy with the direction that the country is going. And I can give you details of that, but I will spare you. What Nigerians are looking for is the alternative, and ADC represents that alternative. So in the coming months, we will convince Nigerians specifically with what we will do differently from what the ruling party is doing and how we are going to alleviate the burden that this government has inflicted on Nigerians. So in the coming months, you will hear from us.
You yourself, you were a minister, under the PDP.
Yes.
Members of this party and the coalition have been leaders of the country on different platforms. It looks like another transfer window where people change clubs. I'm just saying, it's not as if we are seeing new guys like that.
Not necessarily so, and I will wonder what kind of new guys you expect, because, I mean, the political class is the political class, and we're not going to manufacture a new political class overnight. It's the same people that have been active in politics since 1999, you will see, as long as they are able to. We're not going to bring angels, and we're not going to bring people from different countries, for another country to play politics in Nigeria. It's the same people you will find. What will make the critical difference this time is that we are building a party of rules. We are building a party that from the word go, anyone voting for ADC will know what they stand to get in terms of the clarity of our ideas and the clarity of our policies.
Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, this is just the first, conversation we'll be having. Of course, we hope to see you a lot more in the future as your party continues to galvanize momentum. But we thank you for coming, and we appreciate your contributions on political updates, always insightful as usual. That has been Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, spokesperson of the ADC. ADC describes as the new bride in town in the political class. I will come your way again on Friday between now and then. Play your politics for the greater good and stay locked on Africa's finest and largest Nigerian television authority for news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye.
Are you a tech enthusiast? Perhaps you want to know more about the devices and gadgets you use. Tech Mode will bridge that gap. Connect great minds while exploring everything about technology as it concerns you.
It is Tech Mode.
Tech Mode is unlocking your tomorrow today.